When my daughter-in-law shouted at me in front of the whole family, I did not cry. I held the serving spoon in my hand, still warm from the rice pot, and I felt the metal tremble against my palm. My grandson's balloons hung above the table. The candles on the cake were still smoking. The room smelled of cardamom and fried onions, and all the voices in the room went quiet like the steam that fades after you turn off the kettle. "Amina, enough," Layla said, louder than the clatter of dishes. "Stop interfering. Stop pretending you know everything. You make a mess of my house, and then you want everyone to feel sorry for you." Her words fell like stones. She did not blink. Her lipstick was too red for a family afternoon, and maybe that is why it stained so deeply on my heart. My fingers shook and the spoon touched the floor with a soft, shameful sound. In that second, I wanted the earth to swallow me. I looked at my son, Karim. He did not look back. He stared at the cake, at the little plastic football on top, and pressed his lips together like a man holding a secret. My granddaughter Hannah pressed her face into my dress. My grandson Adam stood close to the wall and folded his arms like a soldier. The others, the cousins, the aunties, the uncles, shifted in their chairs. Someone coughed. Someone whispered, "Astaghfirullah." Someone pretended to check their phone. I placed my hand on my chest, where my heart was beating like a trapped bird. "Ya Allah," I whispered, so low that only my ribs heard me. "Give me sabr." I met Layla's eyes and I smiled, because crying would have broken me. A smile was the only thing I could hold that was mine. A smile costs nothing, and it hurts no one. I picked up the spoon again and wiped it with the corner of my scarf. "Leave the food," Layla snapped. "Just sit. You've done enough." She turned to the aunties and laughed like nothing happened. I heard the laughter, and it sounded like the clinking of empty cups. I did not know, standing there with rice on the floor and a tight smile on my mouth, that Allah was already writing the next page. I thought that day was the end of my dignity. I thought it was the day I lost my son, my home, and my place at our table. I did not know it was the beginning of a truth I was never meant to see, and a lesson that would return to my daughter-in-law like a wave that finds the shore, no matter how many footsteps try to run from it. If stories like this bring you comfort, please follow Voices of Fatima, like this video, and share it with someone who might need it. Have you ever been shamed in front of people you love? What helped you hold your tongue? Your support helps me tell more real stories like this one. I will tell you where it began, not in a warm kitchen and not in a room full of relatives, but in the quiet hour before dawn, Fajr. That is the hour that shaped my days, long before Layla married my son, long before I stood shaking with a spoon in my hand. In that hour, the house is a soft shadow, and the only sound is the prayer call floating from the mosque down the road. I wake up, fold my blanket, wash my face, and spread my prayer mat on the floor. The mat is old. The threads are a little loose. It used to be my husband's. Every time I stand on it, I feel his memory like a hand on my shoulder. My name is Amina. I am 68 years old. I am not wise in many things, but I know the weight of a good word and the damage of a sharp tongue. I know the taste of patience when it is bitter in your mouth, and I know that Allah sees what the eyes cannot see. I know because I lived long enough to watch children grow into parents, and parents grow into children again. My husband, Yusuf, was a gentle man. He sold fabric for 40 years, and he never cheated a customer. He would say, "Amina, a cloth that tears with the first wash is a sin on my hands." He died 2 years ago, his heart falling asleep while he was holding my hand. The last Ramadan we spent together, he broke his fast with one date, and then he smiled at me and said, "You are my second." I laughed and threw a piece of bread at him. He caught it and kissed it like it was holy. These are the small jokes that tie a life together. After his burial, the house felt too big. The clock ticked too loudly. The kettle took too long to boil. Silence can be heavier than a sack of rice. Did you know that? My son, Kareem, said, "Mama, come live with us for a while, just until your heart is calmer." I said, "Only for 3 months. I will not be trouble." He nodded and said, "Wallahi, you could never be trouble." He believed it when he said it. I believed it too. Kareem married Layla 5 years before that. She is a bright woman, clever at her work. She organizes events in hotels and smiles with her eyes when she wants something from people. The first time she came to our home, she brought me roses and salad. Yusuf and I thought, she is modern, yes, but she is kind. She will be good to our son. I remember her perfume. It smelled like new soap and orange peel. She kissed my cheek and called me Mama Amina. I felt hopeful. When I moved into their home, I carried 2 suitcases and a box of cups. The cups used to belong to my mother, blue flowers painted on them. I also brought my prayer mat and my hands, which have always tried to be useful. Their apartment was lovely white walls, a big window that brought in morning light, a plant that Layla forgot to water sometimes. The cushions on the sofa were soft, not like the ones in my old house that were more like bricks wrapped in fabric. The kitchen had shiny pots with lids that made little clouds of steam, and a Prostrazender Crossacesarar, silver fridge with magnets shaped like fruits. The first days were sweet. I woke up before everyone, made tea with cardamom, and laid out bread and cheese for breakfast. I folded the children's school uniforms and ironed them as if the lines in the cloth could keep trouble away from their day. Adam would run to me and ask, "Nana, do we have honey?" Hannah would crawl into my lap with her hair sticking up like a small cactus and say, "I had a dream about a purple cow." I would kiss her forehead and say, "Bismillah, eat your bread." Layla thanked me, but her smile was tight like a button about to pop. "You don't need to do too much, Mama Amina," she said. "I have a system." I nodded. "Of course. I am a guest," I told myself. Even if it is my son's home, I am a guest in Layla's kitchen. Days passed. I swept the floor and wiped the counters and pretended I did not hear Layla complain on the phone. "She boils the tea too long," she whispered to a friend. "She doesn't know about the water filter." Later, she laughed and said, "Oh, it's okay. She's sweet." Very old school. I acted like I never heard it. When you are old, you learn to hear only what keeps the peace. The children loved to sit with me on the prayer mat after Maghrib while I moved my fingers on the tasbih beads. We would count together, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. Adam would whisper, "How many more?" I would say, "It's not about how many. It's about how we feel when we say them." He nodded like he understood. Maybe he did. Sometimes, when Layla was late at work, I would cook the things they all loved: lentil soup, chicken with lemon, rice that was soft but not sticky. I cooked with my eyes and my heart, not with recipes. I would taste the broth and whisper, "Ya Allah, put barakah in this." When I put the food on the table, Kareem would sigh, happy. "Mama, your soup is medicine." Layla would taste it and say, "It's nice, but next time, please don't fry onions. The smell stays." I would wipe my hands on my apron and say, "Of course." I learned to fry onions when she was not home. Once a week, my daughter Mariam called from Sharjah. She is a nurse, and her voice always carries the sound of footsteps in a hospital corridor. "Mama, are you okay?" she would ask. "Are they treating you well?" I would say, "Yes, yes, I am fine. The children keep me busy. Kareem is tired from work. Layla is trying. Mariam would hear the pause, the one word I held between my teeth. Come to me, Mama, she said more than once. Even for a weekend. I always answered, soon. At the end of the first month, Kareem sat with me at the dining table while Layla washed dishes. Mama, you know the down payment for the apartment. Your savings helped a lot. Thank you, he said. I looked down at my hands. The skin on my hands has become like thin paper, but it still tells stories, if you look closely. My hands remember every coin I counted, every dress I mended, every mango I peeled for the children. I had given most of my savings to help them get this apartment after Yusuf's funeral. I also gave Layla my gold bangles, the ones Yusuf bought me when we were young, so she and Kareem could start a small online shop for home decor. They promised to return the gold when the business grew. I smiled and said, Alhamdulillah. Everything we have belongs to Allah. He puts it in our hands for a while, then he moves it. Kareem kissed my head. Layla kept washing, her shoulders stiff. As the second month began, Layla's rules grew. Mama Amina, please don't put your things on this counter. Please don't hang wet clothes in the living room. Please don't answer the door when I'm not home. The last one stung. Why? I asked softly. She looked at me like she was talking to a child. There are scams, people who try to trick old people. I bit my lip and nodded. That night, I cried quietly in my room. A grown woman, a mother, a grandmother, and still, I cried like a girl who had been told she was in the way. But even then, I looked for what was good. Layla kept the house clean. She planned the children's birthdays with the carefulness of a wedding planner. She bought fresh flowers on Fridays. She loved her job and brought home stories about famous guests she had to manage. Mama Amina, today a singer demanded 7 different kinds of bottled water, she would say, rolling her eyes. I would laugh. We shared tea and a few jokes, and for a few days we felt like family. Still, a small worry was growing inside me like a seed in damp soil. One afternoon, I found a thick envelope on the entry table with my name printed in small letters. Before I could pick it up, Layla appeared, smiling too fast. Oh, that's the bank. Don't worry, it's nothing. She slid the envelope into her bag and kissed my cheek. You look tired. Go rest. I stood there with my hand half outstretched, empty, like a child reaching for a sweet that gets taken away. Another time, we needed to pay for Adam's school trip. I put some money on the table near Layla's planner. Later, Kareem came to me and thanked me. Layla told me you insisted, he said. I frowned. I didn't insist. I only wanted to help. He nodded like he understood, but a tiny shadow crossed his face, and I knew that somewhere a story about me was being told that I did not recognize. We reached Ramadan again. I prepared suhoor every night and called softly at the door for the children to wake. Hana, my moon, eat 1 spoon of yogurt, I would say. She would smile in her sleep. During the day, I read Quran in the light near the window, my finger moving along the lines like a boat crossing a calm sea. Sometimes, Layla sat with me and listened. Sometimes her phone kept ringing, and she would go to the balcony and whisper urgently into it. I tried not to listen. Still, I heard my own name once. I can't keep her forever, she said. My mother is coming for a few months. We need the room. I put my hand over my heart and breathed slowly. Ya Allah, I prayed. Let my tongue be soft. Let my patience be strong. On Eid, the house was full. Aunt Salma brought lamb with prunes. Uncle Imran brought his loud laugh. The children ran in circles. Cousins took selfies with the green plant that looked healthier than usual because I whispered to it every morning while I poured its water. Layla wore a beautiful teal dress with gold buttons. I wore the light pink abaya that Yusuf liked. Kareem looked handsome in a clean white thobe. We all smiled and said Eid Mubarak and kissed each other's cheeks more than once, just to make the day feel fuller. I cooked a large pot of rice with raisins and almonds. My rice is never dry. It is a small pride that you can taste. As I brought the pot to the table, Layla stood and took the lid from my hands. "Thank you, Mama Amina," she said, smiling sweetly at the guests. "You're always trying to help." Her voice sounded almost kind, but I saw her jaw clench. Something in the air felt thin, like a rope that is about to snap. I set the pot down. The children cheered. The women passed plates. The men sat and talked about petrol prices and football. And then, like a plate falling and breaking the whole room, it happened. I reached to serve rice to Adam first. He was the birthday boy that week, and he had just turned 9, and Layla's voice rose, sharp. "Stop, Amina," she said. "Please stop inserting yourself into everything." She glanced at the aunties. She does this all the time. The word "this" held every small thing I had done in that house. Every cup of tea, every folded shirt, every kiss on a child's head. My throat closed. Kareem looked down. He did not say my name. He did not say Mama. He did not say anything. The spoon fell. My dignity fell with it. After people recovered from their shock, there was this strange game where everyone pretended nothing happened. Someone cut the cake. Someone poured juice. A cousin whispered, "She probably didn't mean it." Another cousin whispered back, "She always meant it." I did not shout. I carried my hurt to my room like a full basin of water that you cannot spill. I sat on my bed and watched the pattern of light on the ceiling. I heard voices outside the door, overlapping and trying to push the moment away where everyone could ignore it. I kept whispering one thing, "Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil." Allah is enough for me. He is the best disposer of affairs. That day I tasted the bitter core of patience. It is not sweet at first. It sits heavy in the mouth, but later it feeds you. I tell you all this not to make you hate Layla or my son or the family who went quiet. I tell you because marriages are not only between a man and a woman. They are marriages of families, of habits, of fears. And when you bring those together, there is friction, there is noise, there is smoke, sometimes fire. Sometimes the gentlest people get burned first, and they keep quiet because they don't want to smoke up the whole house. After the guests left that evening, I took off my pink abaya and folded it slowly. I could smell the rice in the fabric. I could hear my husband's voice in my ears. "Amina, keep the family together." I held that voice like a glass cup that can break with one sudden move. Then I took my tasbih, and I began to count. I prayed for Layla. I prayed for Kareem. I prayed for the children. I prayed for my heart to be anchored. In the days that followed, little things kept happening, like pebbles put into my pockets. One at a time, a missing bangle, a bank envelope that came and disappeared before I could read it, a whisper about a new plan for the spare room, a message that I did not see until it was too late. I started to feel like I was moving through a house where someone was turning off lights behind me as I walked. I told myself to be patient. Sabr is not just waiting. It is trusting that Allah sees the entire picture while you only see a corner. It is forgiving in your heart, but also telling the truth when the moment is right. It is not letting pain turn you into the sharp thing that hurt you. But I am an old woman, and my strength is not endless. Even patience can be bruised. Then, one morning, a letter finally reached my hands. It had my name on it. Not just my first name, but my full name, the one I used when I signed the papers for the old house I sold after Yusuf died. The envelope was heavy. It did not look like junk. It did not look like a greeting from the electricity company. It looked like a key. I did not open it right away. I placed it on the table and made wudu. I prayed 2 rak'ahs and asked Allah to guide me. Then I sat down, took a deep breath, and opened it. The words inside were simple, but they came to me like a door opening and a cold wind filling the room. I held the paper and felt my hands get cold, the way your hands feel when you hold a bowl of snow. I read once. I read twice. I was still reading when I heard Layla come home. I put the paper under my prayer mat and stood. My heart beat so loudly, I thought she could hear it from the hallway. Layla's key clicked in the door before I could finish one more ayah. I slipped the letter under my prayer mat and stood up, my palms damp though the house was cool. "Assalamu alaikum," she called. Her voice was light and quick, like a bird that never lands. I answered, "Wa alaikum assalam," and walked to the kitchen to put the kettle on. My heart beat hard. I was afraid it might knock the cups off the shelf. She came in, kissed my cheek, and opened the fridge just to stare at the things inside. "I'm starving," she said. "Do we still have the olive hummus?" I nodded and pulled a plate from the cupboard. My fingers moved as if they belonged to someone else. The paper under my prayer mat felt like a secret burning a hole in the floor. I kept my face soft. I stirred the tea. I told myself to wait until Fajr tomorrow to read the letter again with a quiet mind, but that night I did not sleep. When the house finally slept and the clock hummed on the wall, I went back to my prayer mat and read the letter line by line. It was from a bank I did not recognize. It said, "Final demand before legal action." It used my full name and my old address and this address. It said I was the guarantor for a business line of credit in the name of Luna Event Decor, with overdue payments for 3 months. It said if the account was not brought up to date, I would be held responsible under my guarantee. It also said copies of the signed documents were available upon request at the branch. I held the paper close to my eyes, as if my breath might change the words. I read it again. I read guarantor. I read Amina. I read an amount so large it looked like a mistake. My hands shook. I had never liked big numbers. Big numbers are like deep water. You do not play in them. You respect them and keep your distance. I pressed the paper against my chest and whispered, "Ya Allah, guide me. If I have done wrong, forgive me. If someone has wronged me, protect me. Let me act with truth and mercy." The words felt small, but they gave me a little light. In the morning I waited by the kitchen door. Kareem came out of his room rubbing his eyes. He looked like a boy for a moment, not a father with a beard and a job and people calling him sir. I smiled. "Tea?" He nodded and sat. Layla was still in bed. The children were still in their dreams. The world was soft. I took the letter from the shelf and placed it in front of him. "Kareem," I said, "read." He did not touch it at first. He looked at me, the way you look at the sky to see if rain is really coming. Then he bent his head and read the letter slowly. I watched his face change, a little line above his nose, his lips pressing together, a shadow moving across his eyes. When he finished, he leaned back and tapped the table. "Mama," he said quietly, "this is nothing to worry about." "Nothing?" I kept my voice low. I wanted my question to sound like a prayer, not a complaint. "Why is my name here, Kareem? Guarantor. I do not understand. I did not go to any bank." He sighed and scratched his beard. "It's for Layla's business," he said. "We needed a line of credit because hotels are paying late, and vendors want their money on time. It's small. It's temporary. The bank asked for a guarantor from family. We planned to ask you, but the process moved fast. We were going to tell you, We will clear it after the next event. Don't worry, Mama. Plan to ask me? I pressed my hand against my heart to keep it steady. You used my name. My old address. You had papers delivered here. You did not tell me. I tried to keep the tears behind my eyes. This is not worry, Kareem. This is trust. He reached for my hand. Mama, I swear to you, we will fix it. Please, don't be upset. We are doing this for the family, for the children. Layla's business is good. It's just late payments. This is normal in business. We will remove your name soon. It was a formality. Before I could answer, Layla walked in, her hair plaited to one side, her phone in her hand, still waking up. Good morning, she sang. She saw the letter and the way my fingers were holding my teacup like a small animal. She smiled too brightly. Ah, so you finally read it, she said. I looked at her. Layla, my name is on a guarantee. How? She pulled out a chair and sat slowly, as if lowering herself into a story she had prepared. It's just paperwork, Mama Amina, she said. I take care of these things. You know how it is. The bank wants family to show support. It makes them feel safe. We signed. We planned to tell you once the account was almost closed, so you don't stress. You worry too much. Truly, it is fine. I swallowed. My throat was dry. Did you use my gold too? The question came out before I could catch it. It sat in the air like a bird that did not know where to land. Layla blinked. Your gold? She glanced at Kareem. We moved some assets to the locker for safety. It is still yours. Receipt is in my files. We can show you later. She stood and kissed my head as if she had finished the matter. I need to run. I have a call with the Hilton manager in 20 minutes. You will see, Mama. We are building something. For this family. For the children. Trust me. She left. Kareem squeezed my fingers. Mama, he said, please. After he went to get ready for work, I went to my room and opened the small velvet box where my bangles used to sleep. It was empty. I had known it was empty, but I still felt the shock as if it had just happened. I sat on the edge of the bed and felt like a stranger in my own hands. I remembered the night Yusuf bought me those bangles. We ate ice cream in the car with the windows down, and he said, "They sound like little bells of a wedding when you walk." I had laughed and said, "You will be jealous of them." Now they were gone to a locker somewhere I did not know. Maybe not even in a locker. I did not fight that day. I did not accuse. I did not want to break the rope completely. I kept busy. I wiped the table and washed the cups and told myself, Saber, Amina, Allah is watching. Words spoken in anger can never be pulled back into the mouth. Wait, seek clarity. Do not be a knife. Days slid by like slow rain. Layla's rules grew longer. Please, Mama Amina, don't add more salt to the soup, she would say. Please don't answer my emails when you see the computer open. I had never answered her emails. Please don't tell Adam long stories before bed. He needs sleep. Adam would look at me with big eyes like a cat left outside. 2 minutes, I would say, and tell him the story of Prophet Yusuf and the brothers who tried to bury him, but Allah did not leave him under the sand. The children started to ask permission before hugging me. Mama says ask, Hannah whispered. Once, embarrassed. I opened my arms and made my voice playful. Permission granted, I said, and pulled her close. Her hair smelled of apples and school. I held her, as if hugs could keep the house from cracking. One afternoon the doorbell rang and I reached it before Layla. A courier stood there with a thick envelope. For Miss Amina, he said. I signed and closed the door. I went to my room and opened it. This one was not from the bank. It was a credit card company, with a glossy paper showing a shiny card with my name and a limit that made my stomach tighten. There were transactions in the statement: hotel supplies, a floral warehouse, even a small luxury perfume shop. I did not own a credit card. I did not know how to use one. My hands moved before my fear could catch up. I called the number. A woman answered with a cheerful voice that did not match my breath. "How can I help you, Miss Amina?" she asked. I gave my name and told her the situation in the simplest words I could find. She asked questions that sounded like doors I had to open with keys I did not have. Mother's maiden name, old phone numbers, last transaction. I stumbled through. Somehow the answers matched. Somehow, in their files, I had already given them everything. "I want to cancel," I said. "Please. I did not ask for this." "Miss Amina," the woman said, her voice softer now, "we can block the card and start an investigation. Are you safe? Do you know who might be using your card?" I looked at the kitchen door. I looked at the clock. "Yes," I said. "I know." When Layla came home that evening and found out, her face changed slowly, like milk boiling and then spilling over. She closed the kitchen door behind her and leaned against it, her hand on the handle like it was the only thing holding her up. "Why would you call the bank?" she hissed in a low voice. "Do you want to destroy everything we are building?" "I want to protect my name," I answered quietly. "You did not ask me." "You live here for free," she snapped, voice rising then dropping when she saw the children's shoes near the hall. "We feed you. You cook sometimes, yes, thank you. But everything is on me. The bills, the school, the clothes. I am trying to create something. The banks don't trust small businesses. They trust family. You are family. What is the problem if your name helps us? We would have paid it back." "Layla," I said with a trembling voice I tried to hide. "Fear Allah with the rights of others. This is my name, my trust. Ask me. And if you ask me, ask with respect. Do not hide letters. Do not make signatures that are not mine." She laughed softly, not a happy laugh. "Signatures?" She opened the dishwasher and started stacking plates quickly, as if the sound could drown my words. We did what we had to do. The world is hard. People admire women who hustle. They don't admire old ladies who boil tea too long. Kareem walked in then, saw our faces, and put his hands up like a man entering a room where the floor is wet. "Please," he said. "Enough for today. We will fix it. We always fix it." That night, after I prayed, I knocked on my neighbor's door. Auntie Samira opened it with her comfortable sweater and her comfortable smile. She is older than me by a few years and loves to stir almonds into rice until they shine. "Come," she said, pulling me in with warm hands. She poured tea that tasted like mint and mercy. I told her some of the truth, not all. I did not want to wash my house in someone else's sink. I said, "Auntie, what do you do when someone takes from you without asking and then tells you it was for your own good?" She looked at me with eyes that have seen many houses, many daughters-in-law, many sons who are still boys inside. "You do two things," she said, holding up 2 fingers. "You pray like a storm inside your chest, and you speak like rain, not like thunder. You tell the truth. You do not bend it, because if you swallow lies, they will choke you." She put her hand on mine. "Call your daughter." I did. I called Mariam. The hospital sounds were in the background, beeping machines, wheels on floors, foot traffic fast and purposeful. "Mama," she said, "what happened?" I told her more than I wanted to tell anybody. The line went silent. "I'm coming," she said. "I will ask for Saturday off. I will ask for Sunday too. I'm coming." I told her to wait. I told her we would try to speak first. She said, "You have given enough silence, Mama." Layla's mother, Rima, arrived 2 days later, a week earlier than planned, dragging a suitcase with wheels that made the whole hallway talk. She is a woman who wears perfume like armor and speaks like someone who expects the world to move when she points. She kissed me twice on the cheek and looked around the house like a queen inspecting a castle. "Where will I sleep?" she asked. Layla led her to my room. "Here, Mama," she said. "We will move Amina to the storage room for a few weeks. Just temporary." I stood by the door and smiled as if it was a favor I had asked for. "Welcome," I said. "Make yourself at home." My prayer mat and my small bookshelf and my box of winter scarves were moved to the storage space. It had a little window that let in a thin piece of sky and walls that held the smell of detergent and cardboard. I spread my mat and whispered, "Ya Muqallib al-Qulub, Thabit Kalbi ala Dinik." O turner of hearts, keep my heart firm upon your religion. I put my pillow on a folded blanket and told myself that the Prophet, peace be upon him, slept on a simple mat and still his heart was full of light. That night I heard Rima and Layla talking in my old room. "The walls in this apartment are good listeners." "She is very fragile," Layla said. "She is forgetful. You know how old people are." Rima laughed, softly. "You are soft-hearted, my daughter. You must be firm. Some mothers-in-law like to take over." I pressed my hand over my mouth to keep the words from flying out. The words were big birds. I did not want them to crash into the walls and die there. Adam and Hannah came to see my new room. "Nana," Adam whispered, "why did you move? Is it because I forgot to wash my hands before touching the remote?" I smiled and lifted his chin. "No, my moon," I said. "We are making space for guests. That is all." Hannah sat on my lap and traced the lines on my hands with her finger. "Your hands look like a map," she said. "They are maps," I answered. "They can find their way anywhere." 3 days later, a man came to the door with a badge that said "Field Officer" and a polite smile that did not reach his tired eyes. "Assalamu alaikum," he said. "I need to speak to Miss Amina." Layla tried to block him with a smile that was all teeth. "She is resting," she said. "She is not well. You can talk to me." The man looked at the card in his hand and then at her. "Sister, this is about a legal notice. I need Miss Amina." I stepped into the hallway. "I am Amina," I said. He nodded and lowered his voice, respectful. "I am sorry to come like this," he said. "We sent letters. We did not receive a response. I need to deliver this notice to you in person and explain it. There are options, but the account is overdue. As the guarantor, we are required to inform you." Layla stood between us like a wall. "We are handling it," she said. "She doesn't need to hear this." He looked past her to me. "It is her right to hear it." We sat at the edge of the living room. He spoke words like arrears and settlement and legal action and repayment plan. I listened and tried to catch the meaning behind the words without drowning in them. He did not shame. He did not threaten. He was like a doctor explaining, "A diagnosis you wish was wrong." He left a copy of the notice with me. "You can come to the branch," he said. "We have the documents. If there is a mistake, we can open a case. But we need to see you." He put his hand to his chest. "Forgive me for bringing this to your home." After he left, Layla was a storm with no rain. She paced. She pointed at me and then put her hands on her head. "You will make us look like fools," she said. "Talking to that man in our house. Do you know how this neighborhood loves to watch? Do you know how fast stories grow?" I said calmly, "The story is already growing. Let us stop it with the truth. Kareem came home that night and asked us to please not involve outsiders. "Mama," he said, "you can talk to me, not to the bank. We will sort it out." I looked at him and saw the boy who used to hold my finger when he crossed the street. Now he wanted me to close my eyes and step into traffic. "Tomorrow," I said, "I will go to the branch. I will look at the documents with my own eyes. Come with me if you like." He did not come. He had meetings all day. Auntie Samira came instead. She sat beside me with her bag on her knees like a soldier ready for orders. At the bank, a young man with a neat beard took us to a small room and laid out copies of papers. There it was, a guarantee form with my name typed and a signature that looked like it had studied my real signature and then decided to dress as it for a costume party. It was almost right, but not right. "That is not my signature," I said. My voice did not shake. I pointed to the witness line. "This is my son's name. It says he confirmed your identity at the time." My chest tightened. The room felt small. "He was not with me," I said. "I did not sign. I was at home that day." The young man nodded slowly, as if he had seen this before in other rooms with other mothers. "We can open a fraud case," he said. "There will be an investigation. It may take time. Meanwhile, the account continues. If payments are made, it will stop further action. If not, the case continues. I am sorry, I am bound by the rules." He pushed a form forward. "If you want to open the case, sign here with your true signature." I signed. My hand was steady again. When I left the bank, the air outside felt thick. I walked home with Auntie Samira, who kept repeating, "La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah," as if the words could place a pillow under each step. That evening, I made dinner like any other evening. Rice with asparagus, a small salad with cucumbers and mint, soup because Kareem liked soup. I cut the lemon and kept the seeds out of the juice because Layla did not like seeds in her bowl. I set the table and called everyone. While we ate, I looked at Kareem. "After the children go to bed," I said softly, "we need to talk." We sat in the living room with the small lamp on. Rima went to the guest room with her phone and videos. The children were sleeping, their chests moving like tiny waves. Layla sat upright with her back straight and her chin high, like a person expecting a fight and ready to win it. I placed the bank papers on the table. "I saw the documents," I said. "My name is on a guarantee. My signature is not my signature. The witness is you, Kareem. I am asking you as your mother, as the woman who carried you when you were a weight on my ribs and ate my sleep for months, tell me the truth." Kareem closed his eyes for a second. When he opened them, I could see that he was sitting in a place between love and fear and could not choose a direction. He rubbed his forehead. "Mama," he said, "we were going to tell you. Layla's cousin Rasha works with a broker. They said it was easier to process if someone witnessed. I signed because I thought it was just to show support. I did not know they would write it as if you were there. I thought you could fix it before I had to know." I finished for him. He nodded slowly. Layla leaned forward. "We didn't forge anything," she said too quickly. "We followed a process. We used a proxy. This is normal. Everyone does it. You don't understand modern systems. Please, stop overreacting." I looked at her. "Do not call me old when you mean unimportant," I said gently. "Do not dress disrespect like modern fashion." I turned to Kareem. "My son, your silence cut me deeper than any paper. You used my name without my permission. You let my honor carry a debt you made. If this is the cost of your dream, the price is wrong." Layla's mouth tightened. "If you open a fraud case," she said, voice flat, "my business is finished. Do you want that?" the children's school fees, the rent, the respect everyone has for us? It will all break, and people will say you did it. The mother who destroyed her son's home. I did not destroy anything, I said, and heard my own voice become something strong and quiet. I boiled tea, I folded uniforms, I prayed for you all by name. I gave my gold, and I gave my home, and I would have given my heart if Allah allowed hearts to be taken by hand. I forgave your sharp words in front of family. I swallowed my hurt. I did not want to embarrass you, but I cannot be an instrument for sin. I will not be a cloak for lies. What do you want then? Layla whispered, her face pale now, the fight in her eyes turning into something like worry. I want 3 things, I said. First, pay the overdue and remove my name. If a bank needs a guarantor, ask your own mother or use your own names. Second, return my gold. If you sold it, say it. If you pawned it, say it. Do not hide behind lockers. Third, do not speak lies about me to anyone. Do not call me forgetful to cover your plans. Do not call me trouble to excuse your cruelty. Fix these, and my mouth will be quiet. I will not open a case. I will be your supporter. But if you play with my name again, I will let the law and truth speak. And I will ask Allah to judge between us. Karim put his head in his hands. 2 weeks, he said. Give us 2 weeks. Layla nodded, grateful for the number, for the delay, for the hope of a miracle. Yes, she said. 2 weeks. Mariam came that weekend like a small army of one. She walked in with her nurse's bag on her shoulder and eyes that could cut a lie in half. She kissed my forehead and then hugged me so tightly my back cracked in a good way. She greeted Layla and Karim with respect. Then she sat with them at the table and spoke like a doctor giving a serious diagnosis. You have 14 days, she said quietly. I will not fight with you. I will not insult you. But I will protect my mother and her name. Do not test me. During those 2 weeks, Layla's face became kind and smooth when she spoke to me. She made me tea and asked about my knees and sent the children to bring me flowers they cut from the plant without asking. But small things slipped like old habits that do not die easily. I heard her whisper to a friend that she was handling the situation. I saw her hide her phone when Karim walked into the room. I found a receipt in the trash, the top half torn off, from a jeweler I recognized in the old market. I kept it. I did not ask, not yet. I slept little. I prayed often. I read Surah Ash-Shar every night and let the ayah, fa inna ma'al usri yusra, wrap around me like a blanket. With hardship comes ease. With hardship comes ease. Not after. With. Maybe my ease was already there, hiding beside my pain like a friend, waiting to be introduced. On the last day of the 2 weeks, a letter came again. Final notice. The words were the same, but the weight felt heavier, like the last stone before a landslide. It said a legal team would visit again. It said the account had not been settled. It said my name over and over, as if it was an object, not a person. I held the paper and felt the old anger rise like a tide, and then felt it go back like the tide always goes back. I placed the paper on my prayer mat and said, Ya Allah, give me the courage to say what is right with a soft mouth. It was a Friday. The house was full again. Not Eid, but full. Karim had invited his cousins for lunch after Jumu'ah. Layla had planned the table as if a magazine photographer might walk in. Rima arranged the flowers in a tall vase, shaking the stems until they looked like they were dancing. I cooked the rice and warded off hands that wanted to taste before the guests arrived. The children were in happy chaos. The call to prayer had already moved through the streets, and the men came back with prayer lines pressed on their foreheads like a blessing you can see. I wore a simple gray dress and a pale scarf. I did not want to be part of the decorations. I wanted to be a quiet corner where somebody could rest their eyes. Aunt Salma came with her loud earrings and her loud love, and Uncle Imran came with his jokes and his habit of laughing before he even finishes them. The room was full of words and smells and plates, and the soft clinking of glasses. We sat, we ate. People said, Bismillah, and pass the salad, and MashaAllah, who made this lamb, and Amina, your rice is always perfect. Layla smiled at every compliment like a teacher giving out stars. Kareem looked at his phone and then put it away, and then looked again like someone expecting a message from fate. I kept my heart steady with dhikr under my breath. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. My fingers moved on the edge of my dress as if they were counting beads that were not there. Then the doorbell rang. Rima clicked her tongue. "Who is that during lunch?" she muttered. Layla stood to go, then sat, then stood again, as if her legs were being told different orders. Kareem sighed. "I will see." He walked to the door. Two men stood there, not in suits but in neat clothes, with a woman who wore a scarf and held a folder. Their faces were tired but kind. Kareem stepped aside, and they entered the hallway with gentle feet. "We are from the bank," the woman said, loud, enough for the room to hear, even though she tried to keep her voice soft. "We need to speak to Miss Amina." The room fell quiet, like someone had covered it with a blanket. The children froze with juice halfway to their lips. Layla stood so fast her chair scraped the floor. "We are eating," she said. "This is not a good time. You can come later." The woman put her hand to her chest. "Forgive us. We have tried to reach Miss Amina for weeks. We are required to deliver a notice. We will be quick." I stood. My legs were strong. I felt Yusuf's hand on my shoulder, invisible but there. "I am Amina," I said. "May we speak here?" the woman asked, her eyes scanning the room full of family. She did not want to shame anyone, but shame had already been released in this house long ago, on a day with balloons and cake. I looked at Layla and Kareem. Their faces were stone. "You may speak," I said. "Let everyone hear. Let everyone know what is happening in this house. Truth is not dirty. It does not need to hide." The woman took a breath. "Miss Amina," she said, "as you know, you are listed as the guarantor for a business line of credit. The account is overdue. We need either a signed repayment plan or a fraud claim to proceed. We have received a fraud claim signed by you. We need to confirm it here. This is a legal notice." She handed me the paper. Her hand did not shake. Mine did not either. Layla moved forward like a fire. "You cannot do this now," she hissed. "You cannot do this in front of everyone. You will humiliate us." A strange calm came over me, like the silence after heavy rain. "Layla," I said, "you shouted at me in front of everyone and told me to leave the food and sit because I had done enough. You did not worry about humiliation then. Today, we will not shout. We will speak. We will finish with dignity." Kareem stepped closer, his hand reaching for the paper. "Mama, let me handle this." "No," I said, and I felt the strength of all the mothers who ever said no, in a soft voice and meant it. "I will handle my name." I turned to the woman. "I confirm my fraud claim. I did not sign the guarantee. I was not there, and I ask for my name to be removed and my trust to be restored." Someone at the table said, "Astaghfirullah," under their breath. Another someone whispered, "Ya Allah." The air in the room changed. It became heavier and clearer at the same time, like a sky after lightning. "We will proceed with the case then," the woman said gently. We will contact you for more details. For now, this is the notice. We also need to inform you that assets listed as collateral. She stopped herself, seeing Layla's face turn into something sharp and dangerous. Forgive me. We will discuss the rest privately. She put her hand to her heart again. May Allah make it easy for you all. Before they could leave, Layla threw her hand toward Athrund, the door. Get out, she said to the woman, to the men, to all the eyes in the room that were not hers. This is my house. I decide what happens here. You decided to use my name here, I said quietly. I did not raise my voice. I did not need to. You decided to tell your friends that I am forgetful. You decided to move me to the storage space. You decided to sell my gold. Her head snapped toward me. I did not, she began, but her words broke in half, like a stick that looked strong but was rotten inside. The room waited. The room can wait for hours when it smells a lie. It was a temporary move, she tried to say. For liquidity. Aunt Salma stood up so fast her earrings danced. Liquidity? She repeated, and made a face like she had tasted something bad. You sold her bangles, the ones Yusuf gave her. For what? For flowers at a hotel? For a magazine picture? She pointed at the receipt in my hand. I had put it in my pocket. Before lunch, not even sure why. Now, it felt like it had been waiting for this exact moment, the way a seed waits for rain. This is the jeweler in the old market, she said. My cousin-in-law works there. They have a camera that records every sale. Everything is on video. If they check the day, they will find your face, Layla. Do you want me to call him now? Layla's mouth opened and then closed. She looked at Kareem, but he was not looking at her. He was looking at the floor, at a small scratch on the tile, as if it could give him advice. Rima stood, the perfume around her suddenly smelling too sweet. Layla, she said in a voice I had not heard before from her, low and shaking. Say the truth. Layla's shoulders dropped. The fight left her eyes like air leaving a balloon. I sold them, she whispered. We needed cash. The clients delayed. We were drowning. I thought I would return them. I swear, I thought I would return them before you even noticed. It was just bad timing. And then you shouted at me for serving rice, I said, not unkindly. And you hid letters, and you asked your children to ask permission before hugging me. And you told people I was weak. I took a breath. I am not weak. I am a mother who survived burying her husband and selling her house and learning to sleep on a mattress that is not her own. I am not weak. Kareem finally looked up. Mama, he said, and that one word carried so much weight it bent his back. I am sorry. Forgive me. I did not stop it. I let this happen because I wanted to keep peace. I thought silence was peace. I was wrong. My eyes filled, not with anger this time, but with an old, deep sadness. Peace is not made of lies, I said. It is made of truth, spoken kindly. It is made of people taking responsibility. It is made of trust that does not need to hide under a prayer mat. Rima came around the table to stand in front of me. Her face was white beneath her makeup. Her voice broke. Sister Amina, she said, using sister like a rope to hold on to. Forgive my daughter. I did not raise her to do this. I did not raise her to put her hand in her mother-in-law's pocket. I did not raise her to shout at elders. I taught her that Jannah is under the feet of mothers. She has forgotten. I am ashamed. I could have let the moment burn her harder. I could have said words that would stay in her mouth like bitter seeds for years. Instead, I took Rima's hands. They were cold. We are all tested, I said. Sometimes Allah tests with poverty. sometimes with money, sometimes with being a mother-in-law, sometimes with being a daughter-in-law. The test is not to be perfect. The test is to return to the right path when you step off it. Layla began to cry in a way I had not seen from her. Not pretty tears that make people want to hug you. Heavy tears that come from a place deep inside that knows it has done wrong and is afraid to look at itself. She sat down and covered her face. Adam and Hannah came to her, confused, and she pulled them against her as if they were a shield. I wanted to pull them toward me too, but I did not move. Some moments need space to breathe. The bank officers left quietly, apologizing again and again with their eyes. The cousins sat still like deer, unsure if they should run or stay. Aunt Salma put her hand on my shoulder and squeezed it, the way a friend squeezes your hand at a funeral when there are no useful words left to say. Uncle Imran, who always had a joke, had none. Kareem came to me and knelt like a boy. He did not touch my feet. He placed his head against my knee and cried like a child who broke something he loved and could not fix it. I put my hand on his hair like I did when he was 5 and afraid of thunder. "I forgive you," I whispered. It surprised me that the words came so easily, maybe because I had said them 100 times in my heart already, in the dark, when no one was listening. I stood then, not because I wanted to leave, but because I needed air that had not listened to all these secrets. I walked to my little room and sat on my prayer mat. I breathed. I cried. I laughed a little at the madness of this world. I prayed 2 rak'ahs for clarity. When I stood up, I felt something inside me settle. It was like a glass of water that had been shaken too long, finally putting its sediment to rest. In that quiet, a realization came to me clear as daylight. I did not lose my dignity when Layla shouted at me in front of the family. I did not lose it when they moved me to the storage room. I did not lose it when my gold was sold without my consent. I almost lost it when I told myself my silence was patience. But patience is not silence that protects wrong. Patience is standing in the truth without hate. Patience is refusing to let someone else's fear write your story. Patience is trusting that Allah's justice is better than any revenge I could ever plan. I wiped my face. I went back to the living room. The plates sat half-eaten. The flowers in the vase looked tired. Layla's makeup had streaked lines down her face like a map of rivers after a storm. Kareem's eyes were red. Rima looked small. The cousins had found excuses and faded away. Only Aunt Salma stayed, her hand still a weight on the back of the chair, as if she did not trust the room to carry itself without her. "I will go to Mariam for a few days," I said calmly. "Not because I run from you, but because I want both of us to have space to think and to clean our hearts. Fix what you can fix, pay what you owe, return what you can return, stop what you must stop. And then, if Allah wants, we will build something new. But this," I waved my hand gently around the room, "this will not continue." Layla looked at me with eyes that pleaded and defended and scolded all at once. "Please," she said. One word, finally small. I did not know if she meant, "Please forgive me," or "Please don't go," or "Please don't make me look at myself." Maybe she meant all. "Make tawbah," I said softly. "Ask Allah first. Then ask the people you hurt. That is the door. There is no other door." I picked up my prayer mat. It felt very light in my hands. I was ready to leave the house the next morning with nothing but this mat and my small bag. I did not yet know what would come next. I did not know what kind of karma would roll back toward the person who started it. I did not know how Allah would write the rest. But I knew the path I would walk on. It was made of truth, and it was covered with prayer. I left the next morning with my prayer mat, a small bag, and my breath steady. The sky was still pale, and the street smelled like bread because the bakery on the corner opens before the world is ready. Karim wanted to drive me, but I said, "No, let me take a taxi. I want the ride to be quiet." He put my bag in the trunk and held the door. He kept trying to say something, but only one sentence came out. "Mama, I love you." I nodded. "I know," I said. "Love is not the problem. Choices are." Mariam met me outside her apartment with arms that had been waiting to hold me. She kissed my forehead and pressed it against her chest for a moment, like she was putting a seal on me. Her small living room smelled like detergent and coffee. She had spread a clean blanket on the couch for me. "You can have my room," she said. "I will sleep here." I shook my head. "No, my daughter. I am not a queen. The couch is perfect." She laughed softly. "You are my queen," she answered. We both pretended to believe it was a joke. The next few days moved slowly. Mariam worked night shifts and slept in the day. I made soup and cooked rice in her tiny kitchen that had a light that flickered but still did its job. I cleaned the little balcony and put a chair there so I could sit at Asr time and feel the sun touch my knees. The masjid was close enough that I could hear every adhan like a friend knocking on the door. I spread my prayer mat under the window. I read Quran with my finger moving gently on each word. Sometimes my tears fell on the page. Sometimes my heart fell quiet and light, like a paper boat on still water. I did not call Karim. I waited for him to call. He sent a message every morning. "Good morning, Mama." He sent a message every night. "Pray for me." I wrote back every time. "Allah is with you if you are with the truth." On the fourth day, the bank called me to say they had compared signatures. "Miss Amina," the woman said, "we confirm that the signature on file does not match your verified signature on other accounts. We have frozen the business line. We will remove your guarantee once our legal team completes the formality. The primary account holder will need to settle the balance or enter a plan. We will not report you." I thanked her and then said, "May Allah make your work easy. You deal with people in pain all day." She laughed softly, surprised. "We do," she said. "It is the first time someone prays for us." I told Mariam, and she exhaled like a person who had been holding her breath without noticing. She made tea with mint leaves and honey. "Now," she said, "we wait for the rest to settle." I nodded. "We also pray that our hearts do not become hard," I added. She touched her own chest. "That is the hardest part." The children called me from Karim's phone. "Nana, when are you coming back?" Hannah asked in a small voice. "The plant misses you." I smiled, though my throat tightened. "I miss the plant too," I said. "Tell the plant I am at a spa and will come soon." Adam giggled. "Spa?" I whispered. "It is a special place for grandmothers where people let them sleep and no one hides letters under their mats." He laughed louder, then grew quiet. "Mama cries sometimes," he said. "Is she sick?" I closed my eyes. "No, my moon," I said softly. "Sometimes hearts get sick when they carry a heavy lie, but hearts can get better if we wash them with truth. Hug your mother for me. Hug your father too." A week later, a video came to my phone from a number I did not know. It was a shaky recording from a wedding hall. You could see the white flowers and the little lights hanging like stars that can be turned on and off with a switch. The bride's mother stood near the stage, her face red with anger. She pointed at someone behind the camera and said, "We gave you our trust and our money. Where are the flowers we ordered? Where is the music license?" The police came and stopped the DJ. People are sitting in the dark. A voice, which I knew as well as my own kitchen, tried to calm her. "Madam, please, we had a supply issue." We will fix it now. The woman cut her off. You promised and promised. You said everything was under control. The camera turned, and there it was, Layla's face, tight and pale, trying to hold everything together with a smile that could not carry it. Someone in the background shouted, "This company is a scam." Another voice said, "I paid cash, and now they say the account is frozen." The video ended with noise and hands waving and the sound of chairs moving in a way that never means joy. I waited. I did not forward the video. I did not let my heart become happy at her pain. I put the phone down and went to pray 2 rak'ahs. After the prayer, I picked up the phone and wrote a message to Kareem. Hold your wife. Do not let strangers hold your house. Together. Be honest with the clients. Return what you took. Ask forgiveness. This storm will not stop until you stop running. He called. His voice was rough from crying or lack of sleep. I could not tell. Mama, he said, it has been bad. People are talking everywhere. WhatsApp groups, clients canceling, vendors refusing to deliver unless we pay cash. The bank froze the account. I sold the car. We are moving to a smaller place next month. I wanted to tell you after I fixed it, but he stopped. He had no after. I closed my eyes. I am sorry, I said. Hard lessons are still lessons. Come see me. Bring the children. Bring Layla if she has the courage. They came the next day. Kareem looked like the edges of his face had become older in a week. The children ran to me and did not ask for permission. I thanked Allah for that small victory. Layla stood at the door like a schoolgirl called to the principal's office. Her face was bare without makeup, and she looked different, smaller, real. She held a small box in one hand. I opened the door wider. Come, I said. All of you. We sat in Mariam's little living room. Layla placed the box on the table. It is not your bangles, she said quickly, tears already in her eyes. The jeweler melted them. I went to beg and he showed me the paper. I cannot bring them back. I bought a thin bangle with my first money ever when I was single, but it is nothing like what you had. She pushed the box toward me like a person offering a cup of water in a desert they caused. I am sorry, she said. The words were not soft and pretty. They were rough and heavy. They were true. I opened the box. Inside was a single, simple bangle with a small charm that had Allah's name carved in it. It glinted like something that was trying its best. I picked it up and turned it in my fingers. The metal was cool. I put it back. I forgive you, I said. Her shoulders shook. She covered her face with her hands and cried from the deep place again. I know forgiveness does not return what is gone, she whispered through her fingers. I know it does not erase the things I said, the way I spoke to you, the lies I told. Allah knows. The whole city knows. I wanted respect, and now I have shame. I thought I was building a brand. Now I am sweeping the pieces. I do not ask you to come back. I do not deserve it. I only ask you not to hate me. And I ask you to tell me how to walk from here. I leaned forward. I wanted to pour water into the fire in her chest. Hate is for people who do not believe in Qadr, I said. Allah allowed this to happen to show what we each carry. He exposed what was thin. He kept what was strong. Your strength can return if you build it on truth. It will be slower, it will be harder, but it will last. We ate together in Mariam's home that night, sharing simple food, no decorations, no candles, no hotel plates. The children fell asleep with their heads touching on a cushion. Kareem washed the dishes. Layla wiped the table. I watched them with the strange feeling of seeing something and understanding it at the same time. This is family when it is not a picture for other people. It is work and apology and tender hands on tired faces. Days passed. I did not move back. I did not punish them with my absence. I chose my own small place. Auntie Samira's neighbor, an old widow, was moving in with her son in another town. Her studio apartment was near the masjid and had a small window that watched a tree where birds came in the morning. The rent was not heavy. Mariam insisted on paying half. Karim insisted on paying the rest. I said, "Let me pay one share. I want to taste my own independence." They both argued kindly. In the end, we made a schedule. Karim would cover what I could not. I would cover the rest with the small pension from Yusuf's years and some tailoring I started doing for women in the building. I sat by my window in the afternoons and hemmed skirts and mended sleeves. I felt useful again. The children came to see me on weekends. We read Quran together. We baked small cookies and laughed when the shapes became strange in the oven. We planted coriander in a little pot and checked it every morning like it was a newborn baby. When it sprouted, Adam whispered, "Subhanallah," like he was inside a masjid. Hannah drew a picture of my prayer mat and wrote above it with her big handwriting, "Nana's special place." Layla called me sometimes at night, not to complain, to ask, "How do I make lentil soup the way you make it?" she would ask. "What do I say to Adam when he is afraid we will not be okay? How do I help my mother into the bath safely?" Each time, I gave her a simple answer. Each time, I added a dua. "Say Bismillah. It opens doors that are stuck," I told her. "Tell Adam that Allah is al-Wakil. He manages our affairs when our hands are too small, and put a chair in the bathroom for Rima. Hold her elbow with one hand and her shoulder with the other. Move slow. Tell her she is not a burden." One afternoon, Layla arrived at my door with Rima. She had a cane now. Her eyes looked tired but kind. She kissed my hand before I could stop her. "Forgive me," she said. "I was arrogant. I am learning now. My back hurts. My pride hurts more." I held her face with my hands. "We all think we are taller until life measures us," I said. She laughed, then winced. We sat together and drank tea. Layla watched me hold her mother's hand and saw something. I could see it in her face. She saw the circle closing. She saw what it means when the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that paradise is under a mother's feet. She saw that mercy is not a weak thing. It is a strong kind of gentleness. The bank case closed quietly. I received a letter that said my name was removed. It was a simple paper with simple words. I folded it and placed it inside Yusuf's old Quran, near the page he had folded for me years ago. Karim and Layla entered a repayment plan with the bank. They sold the second car. They moved to a smaller apartment with old tiles and a noisy neighbor who played the radio too loud on Fridays. Layla stopped her events business for a while and took a part-time job scheduling conferences at a community center. She did not post about it online. She did not post anything online. The big brand she built on pictures and borrowed money and silence about the truth had vanished. She began building a smaller, truer life on honesty and cash in hand and simple joy. That life had fewer flowers, but it also had fewer thorns. One evening, months later, Karim invited me for dinner at their new place. It was a humble apartment, and I liked it. The walls had small cracks that I found comforting. They reminded me that everything made by hands will crack one day. Layla opened the door and hugged me. She smelled like soap and onions. A good smell. The children shouted, "Nana!" and jumped, and did not ask anyone's permission. Rima sat on the sofa with a cushion under her back and a small smile. She gave me a look that said thank you without words. We ate together at a table that wobbled a little on one leg. Layla had made lentil soup. It tasted like mine. Karim kept touching my shoulder when he walked past me, as if he needed to confirm I was really there. After dinner, we prayed Maghrib together. Layla stood next to me and cried in sujud. After the prayer, she lifted her head and spoke in a whisper. "I want to say something in front of everyone," she said. The children stopped moving. Even the radio outside stopped for a second, or maybe I imagined it. Layla took a deep breath. "I am sorry I shouted at you in front of the family," she said, her eyes on mine. "I am sorry I used your name without your permission. I am sorry I told people you were forgetful so they would not question me. I am sorry I moved you to the storage room and called it space when it was disrespect. I am sorry I sold your gold and told myself I would return it, as if a lie is not a lie when you plan to fix it later. I am sorry for all of it. I ask Allah to forgive me. I ask you to forgive me." I placed my hand on her head. The hair under her scarf felt like the hair of my daughter. "I forgave you the day I left," I said. "Not because I am better, because I want Allah to forgive me on the day I stand in front of Him with all my mistakes. We will not hold each other's necks on that day if we can release them now." Kareem cried again, but this time it was softer. Rima wiped her eyes and whispered, "Ameen." The children came to hold my hand and Layla's hand at the same time, their fingers joining us like thread. We set new rules after that night, not rules like laws. Agreements like a promise. We agreed I would live in my little place near the masjid, and they would visit me, often. We agreed the children could hug me whenever they wanted, no permission needed. We agreed money would be discussed with clear words and papers when family was involved. We agreed that if we were angry, we would speak after prayer, not during the storm. We agreed to tell the truth, even when it made our faces burn. Ramadan came again. This time, I spent the first half in my place and the second half with them. We cooked together. We kept the onions smell and did not complain. We prayed Taraweeh at home with little voices reciting short surahs in front of us like birds learning to fly. On Eid, we did not have a big party. We had kanafe on chipped plates and laughed when the syrup spilled. Layla wore a simple dress. I wore my pink abaya again. It still smelled a little like rice. That smell had become sweet to me. One afternoon, in that same Ramadan, someone sent me another video. It was from a community center event. There was a woman at a microphone thanking the volunteers and apologizing that the chairs were not enough. She was smiling, not for a camera, but with her eyes. It was Layla. She said, "We are a small team, but we will do our best." "Thank you for your patience." The room clapped. I watched it twice. Then I put my phone down and said, "Alhamdulillah." Not because she was on a stage again, because she had come down from the stage in her heart. I also had my own small karma, if you want to call it that, but I call it mercy. One day, after Dhuhr, Yusuf's old friend came to my door with a wrapped parcel. "Your husband helped me once when my shop was broken into," he said. He did not tell anyone. He was a quiet helper. I finally saved enough to repay a little. I know he is gone, so I give it to you. Inside the parcel was a set of simple gold bangles, not the same as my old ones, but warm and bright. I held them and felt tears come to my eyes, not because of the metal, but because of how Allah stores goodness in hidden cupboards and opens them at the right time. I sent a picture to Kareem and Layla. I wrote, "Allah returns what is lost in His way, not ours." There were still days of tightness. We are not angels. Sometimes Layla's voice became sharp when she was tired. Sometimes Kareem forgot to call. Sometimes I wanted to remind them of the past and make my point with old pain. On those days, I went to my window, touched the coriander, and breathed. I reminded myself that sabr is not a straight line. It is many small choices, like beads on a string. Months later, Rima fell in the bathroom and hurt her hip. Layla called me at midnight. "What do I do?" she asked, voice trembling. "Come," I said. I put on my abaya and caught a taxi. I found Rima on the sofa, pale and sweaty. We took her to the hospital. Mariam met us there with her calm face that calms everyone else. They gave Rima pain relief and advice. We took her home. Layla looked at me and said, "I understand now." She did not explain. She did not need to. She meant she understood how heavy it is to care for someone who once cared for you, and how easy it is to lose patience with the hand that needs you. She meant she understood that one day her children will watch how she treats me and Rima and learn their own scripts. I kissed her forehead. "Allah chose you for this," I said. "He trusts you with her. That is honor." Time passed. The scandal faded. People tired of talking. They found new stories. Our family stayed. Not perfect, not broken. Just human with Allah between us, like light that we all face so we can see one another better. I found peace that did not depend on them being perfect. They found humility that did not depend on them losing all dignity. We built a small bridge with prayer, and we crossed it slowly, together. Sometimes I sit by my window with my prayer mat at my feet and I think about the day my daughter-in-law shouted at me in front of the whole family. I still feel the sting, but it is a clean pain now, like a healed scar you can run your finger over and say, "I survived this." I think of the spoon on the floor. I think of Kareem's face looking at the cake and not at me. I think of Hannah hiding her face in my dress. I think of the bank letters and the storage room, and the day the truth finally stood in the middle of the room with its shoes on and said, "Look at me." And then I think of the day Layla cried in my small living room and asked for forgiveness without makeup or pride. I think of Adam and Hannah making wobbly cookies and not asking for permission to hug me. I think of the bank letter that removed my name and the new bangles that came from a different hand for the sake of an old kindness. I think of Rima's hand in mine, soft and small, and the way Layla watched and understood. I think of the coriander sprouting. I think of the adhan traveling like a kind wind from the masjid into my chest. Maybe Allah wanted me to be pushed to the edge of the room so I could find the door. Maybe He wanted me to lose my gold so I would lose my attachment to what can be melted and find what cannot. Maybe He wanted my daughter-in-law to be humbled not because He hates her, but because He loves her and wanted to save her from a bigger fall later. Maybe He wanted me to learn that patience is not quiet suffering. It is brave truth, spoken softly. It is clean forgiveness, given to people who are trying, even if they started wrong. It is standing in the storm and saying, "Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel," and then doing the next right thing. If you are listening to me and your heart is heavy because someone humiliated you, know this. Allah sees you. He collects your tears. He hears the prayers you whisper into your pillow. Do not let your pain turn you into a sharp thing. Be a strong thing. Be a gentle thing. Speak when you must. Be silent when it is wise. Leave when it is right. Return when the door is clean. And trust that no humiliation in this world can erase the honor Allah gives to those who are patient and truthful. When people ask me now if I fear karma, I say, I fear only Allah, and I trust His justice. It does not always come like a thunderclap. Sometimes it comes like a slow sunrise, showing each of us what we need to see. My daughter-in-law shouted at me in front of the family. Months later, life shouted at her in front of clients and screens and strangers. But I did not smile when I saw it. I prayed for her. Because one day, life will shout at me again too, in some other way. I want mercy to be the voice that answers. I end with gratitude. Alhamdulillah for the tests that broke the idols in my heart. Alhamdulillah for the people who stayed. Alhamdulillah for the people who left. Because sometimes that is how Allah empties a room so He can fill it with truth. Alhamdulillah for forgiveness that feels like cool water after a long, hot walk. Alhamdulillah for the small apartment near the masjid, and the coriander and the bangles that ring like tiny bells when I make dua. May Allah make us people of sabr and shukr. May He stitch our families with threads of truth and love. May He protect our names and our hearts. May He not test us with ourselves. May He forgive us when we fail, and may He bring us back to Him with faces washed clean by tears of regret, not tears of stubborn pride. What would you have done in my place? Would you have confronted them sooner, or waited and watched? Tell me in the comments. Which country are you watching from? I love knowing where my listeners are. Don't forget to follow Voices of Fatima, like this video, and share it with someone who needs this reminder about patience, truth, and forgiveness. Your support helps me keep telling real stories from the patient's heart.